So I guess it's down to me, right?
Yes, you're in charge, Aaron.
All right. So looking over the Prac agenda for May 3rd, I believe we do the approval of the April meeting minutes first.
Yes.
Does anybody have any concerns or questions about April's meeting?
Yeah, I would just like to strike my comment about paving the path at Woodlands Park from the record. That was more of me just off the cuff speaking rather than some kind of formal recommendation.
Okay, and who was that?
This is Todd.
Okay.
I can agree with that.
It's hard for me to sometimes decipher what is chatter and what's like necessary, I guess. So I do my best, but I will I can strike that.
Anyone else?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Is that Todd?
That was Will.
Yeah, Will.
I got Will's first.
Aaron seconded.
Aaron seconded? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, can I make a recommendation? This is Rick speaking. Maybe when we speak up, we'll just identify ourselves as we speak, and it'll help Heather.
That is perfect. I can tell who's talking when people are on video, and like Jessica mentioned, you don't have to have your video on, but so there's at least 8 people that don't have videos on, so it's hard for me to tell who's talking.
This is Rick speaking. This is Rick, and Jessica scared me. You're not going to see me ever again on camera.
All right. Thank you.
So moving on, unless somebody else has any other comments. Okay, so I guess we'll move to the park reports.
Do we have to vote on that to accept the minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll just go down the list and you can just say yes or no. Tony?
Yes.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
Caleb?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Patrick? He's just muted. And Aaron?
Yes.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Thank you.
So I guess we have the park reports next.
Yes.
We can start with Rivercrest with Rick Giltz.
Hi, this is Rick. No real change in the park from my last prior. I see it was freshly mown. I think the routine is maybe Friday, but anyway, it looks good. And you know, the activities, of course, are going to start to pick up. I don't see anything that needs any attention. And kudos to the crews getting out there taking care of this early spring.
Thank you,
End
Rick.
of report.
Okay.
Could I ask if you're not speaking to mute your mic? Because I'm getting a lot of feedback on my end from others. I don't know if anyone else is affected by that. So bottom left corner, you can mute and unmute.
I'm getting some background noise as well. Okay, next for a report, we have Milestone and Riverside with Will.
All right. For my report, Milestone looks great. It looks really sharp. So kudos to the city for that. Great job. Looks nice. And for Riverside, it looks great. It's looking good. Every time I go down, my wife and I take walks down there frequently, and then go up the ramp and everything. Like, it looks great. And actually, this time we've gone mobile, having 2 kids. We strapped one to our to ourselves, and the other one we usually take a stroller, but we were able to be a little bit more mobile this time, and we actually took the steps, and those are, as I say, really good steps. But I would say I think we need to clean out the steps around the sides a little bit. We have some like growth of some like saplings that are trying to overtake the just the sides of the steps there going up. So that's it. Otherwise, it looks fantastic. So it's always a very pretty view, especially on a beautiful day. So. And that pretty much concludes my report. I do have some questions about just park stuff in general, but I can wait till later on. So I'll do that. Thanks. That concludes my report.
Okay, sounds good. Jessica emailed her report. Does someone want me to read it, or did you already have it, Greg?
Yes, I did receive that. And I guess the one question she had was about a bike rack possibly being placed there. Probably
Right.
not a problem to do that. And I do believe that the lights are on a photo cell there under the bridge, but I will double check that as well.
Okay. Next is municipal with Christopher Patrick.
Hey, this is Chris. Everything at Muni looks great. A lot of activity over the weekend. The one thing that I want to revisit, and I'll probably continue to revisit this, is the pool heater. It's something, I don't know if Greg, if there's any data you can give me on any of the old quotes or anything for the pool heater that they looked at before.
Patrick, you're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, try it again.
So the pool heater for Muni, I know that we had gotten quotes on that in the past. And I didn't know if we had a record of those, if there was anything any kind of data I could look at on what we had seen in the past, because I'm getting a lot of traction on that from a lot of people. So it's something I'd like to explore again, just to know what I'm talking about when I talk to people.
Right, yeah. No, I can look into that. There may be a history on that in our file.
Okay, yeah. Anything you can get me would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
And again, your people are doing too good of a job. You need to stop. That's it. End of report.
All right, thank you.
Next we have Woodlands, Dave Shannon. Is Dave in attendance?
He is not. I missed that. My apologies. So we will skip Dave.
Okay. Eisenhower with Lindsay Bucher.
Can I jump in real quick just because I was at Woodlands yesterday? It looks like the concrete pads are going in for the sculptures. Greg, could you give us more information about that?
Yes, they actually started that, I believe, last week, and Toledo Edison, I believe, was out there today doing work on the electric for those pads as well.
What are the sculptures going to be of?
I do not know for sure. I think that's coming later this year, but I don't have a definite date on that. I can get a report on, or try to get some information on that, and you can send that out email.
Is that everything, Todd?
Yeah, sorry. Thanks,
That's okay.
Greg.
That's okay.
Just curious about that.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Okay, sorry. Eisenhower looks great. I feel like it's way busier than it was at this time last year, obviously, because everything was closed. I still haven't seen it super busy, but it looks great. I didn't see anything that needed to be fixed or updated or anything.
Okay. Next is myself, Hood Park. I was just down there this afternoon. Looked good. It's like it was just freshly cut, well manicured. Unless my memory doesn't serve me correct, it looked like you guys had taken down the white fence around the porta potty.
Yes, yeah, we've got to rebuild that structure. The wind kind of took its toll on it over this winter.
Okay. But yeah, park looked great. Next, we have Free Meadows with Tony Wade.
Ready?
Yep.
The erosion project, it looks like it's finished, and it looks really, really nice, especially the dock area. That's a lot of work, and it really looks nice. The second thing, if people are being a little bit more considerate for the shelter house, Greg, you appreciate that.
I definitely would.
There is a problem with these 10, 12-year-old kids throwing these rocks in the pond. My neighbor reported that yesterday they observed like 4 boys throwing rocks in the pond, and believe it or not, their parents were right there. So I don't know, maybe you could put up some signs or something, don't throw rocks in the pond. Okay. I was under the impression that last meeting that they were going to remove those dirt piles at the north end of the pond. Is that still, are they going to do that, or?
The ones at the back of the park, behind the apartments?
Yeah, the northeast side of the pond.
Yes, those are still there for us to use. Around the park, there's some low spots and stuff that we're going to take care of. So we'll be digging into those piles and using up while we can there, and then we'll probably haul the rest away.
Okay.
We'll use that when we start doing the sidewalk repairs and some of just some of the low spots where we mow that hold water and stuff. So we hope to use that up.
Is there a schedule for the sidewalks at the shelter house? They were going to be.
Yeah, actually, I believe, once we start getting our summer help in here in the next couple of weeks, where we get our little extra help doing all the things we do, we're going to start getting those prepped and poured.
Okay. I was going to ask Deborah if she's on. Is there any possible talk or movement about a walking path around the park, around the pond?
Hi, Tony. Yes, I am here. And I will say that we did bring that up at the last Recreation Committee meeting, and I will be happy to bring that up again as well for you.
Okay, thank you. Greg, one other thing. I volunteered last month to pick up litter at the park and the shelter house, but I can't clean the floors because they got food all over the floor, soda spilled everywhere. Food I can't do anything about, but I can pick up litter, so I just thought I'd pass that along.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, once we start getting our seasonal help in here to where we can do those extra things, we'll get out there and we'll power wash that off and get it clean more on a daily basis.
Okay, I'll continue to pick up the litter though, so.
We appreciate it.
That's it, thank you.
And then we have Bicentennial with Todd France.
Yep, this is Todd. Nothing really to report. The broken structure around the porta potty was fixed, so thanks for that, Greg. The swing was fixed, so it looks good. The soccer goals have been removed. Greg, where did those go to?
They were actually at our facility. We moved them back here until we could figure out who's going to be responsible for them, and I guess if they're not in use at that park, no sense in having them there to mow around.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if they were not in use because no one wanted to play or because the nets weren't on them. So you said they're property of PISA or they're property of the city?
Oh, I was under the understanding that all the soccer goals was, part of PASA or, one of the groups that were using it.
I see.
But I don't know if that's been determined yet or not either.
Okay, great. That's all I had to report.
And the last park will be Rotary, which is Jessica's park, and I didn't see anything regarding that. Everybody okay if we move on to the next item of agenda?
And kind of report on Rotary. If anyone noticed, the construction to the inclusive playground is well underway, for at least the sub work. It's quite amazing, with the wall and how that's going to be laid out. So we're going to continue to make improvements around the park. Like I say, just as soon as we get some good weather now, and we're going to dress up the stone, in the parking lot areas, and try to do some work on the actual fields themselves. We'll put some of that extra dirt from the playground project to good use for that as well. So that's all I got.
I do have a question for you, Greg.
Sure.
I thought last fall there was talk of windscreens for the tennis and pickleball courts at Municipal Park.
Yes, actually, I've got that on my to-do list to get quotations for that, and then it's to come up with the money. So,
oh, okay.
Perfect. If not, it will be in the budget for next year, I'm sure.
Okay.
And this is Todd again. I wanted to jump in. I don't know if you saw in one of the emails that Jessica had sent out that she and I had spoken briefly, and I gathered some information about Orleans Park, which is her park. She asked me to share it at some point today with all of you as well. So I can do that now, or I'm happy to wait until the end of the meeting.
I think now is probably a good time.
Okay.
I'd like to hear.
Great. So I actually spent a little bit of time on this. I put together some photos and whatnot. I think I need to share my screen, so hopefully I'm able to do that. Are you all able to see that okay?
Doesn't look like Orleans Park.
See your desktop.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's good.
You can see this okay?
Yeah.
Let's get this out of here. So the reason I'm bringing this up is let's see if I can move this, is based on our conversation last week that we had. There was a lot of great information talked and summarized about what was done last year and then the plans for this year. And I brought this up last week. I was a little bit unprepared, so I wanted to kind of do my homework and understand the situation a little bit better about this idea of paving Orleans Park. Mostly because when I go by it, which is I'd say 4 to 6 times a week, the parking lot typically looks like this. It's just an unpaved lot if you're not familiar. There's some grassy area over here. And the amenities are pretty sparse. There's a couple picnic tables, a bench, porta potty, and a trailhead to the new paved trail that connects to Fort Meigs. And so I wanted to kind of better understand the situation of why this, what benefit it could provide by being paved. And we talked last month a little bit about how it's a seasonal site in the sense that it's mostly used during this time when the fishermen are out there and using it. So my daughters and I went on a bike ride one morning on April 10th and went to all 6 river access points along the Maumee River. And I was trying to gauge a sense of like how many people use these locations during peak time and how many of those people are actually from Perrysburg. Well, I couldn't really get Perrysburg unless I went and talked to everyone, which I wasn't going to do, but I could at least count license plates, meaning that at each of these lots, I made a tally in my head as we were kind of riding along of which license plates were from Wood County, those being number 87, which were from outside of Wood County in Ohio or outside the state, and then which I couldn't see because they were covered up by a license plate frame or I just couldn't get access to see the license plate. So that's what those numbers are. And I was trying to think to myself ahead of time, okay, what would be appropriate for spending this not insignificant sum of money to pave Orleans Park. You know, is 50-50 okay if half the people using these lots are from Perrysburg and the others are from outside of Perrysburg, or is it something less than that? But I just wanted to, again, better understand the situation. So at the Maple Street parking lot, which is an unpaved lot, the access to the lot is paved, but down here is unpaved. Most of the people down here had trailers. They were putting their boats in, and we can see the numbers there. 6 out of the 28 total cars were from Wood County. And so I'm just going to go down here real quick. In Hood Park wasn't really being used at that point, just 1 car down there. Orleans Park was well used along the river by the water treatment facility. That was pretty well full. And we can see the numbers there. It's all unpaved. The main lot looked like this. Not many people there, which was a little bit surprising to me because I was expecting to see more cars during this time. We'll get to that in a little bit. Fort Meigs parking lot looked like that, just 4 cars in total. And I actually talked to the owner of this sedan here, and I asked him, you know, would it make a difference to you if the lot over at Orleans was paved like this parking lot? And his response was something along the lines of this. It would not impact his decision on where to park. As long as he could drive across the gravel, he's okay. He noted that most fishermen, unlike him, who drives a sedan, drive trucks and SUVs, so the gravel really doesn't matter to them. And he also said that perhaps paving the lot would be beneficial to Perrysburg residents, but he didn't really know since he wasn't from Perrysburg. So that was the feedback he gave. Actually, the first thing he said to me was, "Are you in the paving industry?" And I said, "No, I'm just trying to get some information about the parking lot situation down here." Davis Overlook looked like this. It's pretty well full down there in that small lot. Most people that day were down in Buttonwood because that's what the water level dictated, which was news to me. That based on the water level, that's kind of indicates where the best fishing places are. So this year it seems to be down in Buttonwood, at least at this time in April. We can see that there's a paved path to a gravel lot all around here, and people were kind of parked all over the place. But the general observations that I made were that, one other thing to point out, there's this private lot that's just to the east of Buttonwood that was also packed, and I think it was $5 to park there, and I think there were probably people camping there as well. But one of the general observations I made was that paving or not paving doesn't really impact where people are going to park. They're going to park wherever the fish are. The other observation I made that I didn't see any females or any children. Not to say that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It was just a general observation I made. I also, my wife, I don't use Facebook, but my wife does. And so she was kind of showing me some of the photos from this group called the Maumee River Walleye Run. And so I just went through about a month's worth of photos that were posted. And the same thing is essentially true here, right? It's mostly, almost predominantly men that are using these sites, which is fine. I'm not a fisherman. I don't have a say in it or not, but that's just a general observation. I would say that it's not really a family activity along the river. So take that for what it's worth. The total tallies look like this, meaning that about 16% of the known vehicles overall, if we disregard that last unknown column, 16% of the vehicles were from Wood County. But keep in mind that Perrysburg makes up about 16% of the total of Wood County's population. So even if we're kind of generous here and we say that, well, maybe of those Wood County plates, a quarter of the people or half of the people were actually from Perrysburg City, it's still a very small percentage of the total number of people using those lots. The other observation I'd make is that when I rode on that on my bike, those 60 spaces that are at Fort Meigs parking lot, the new parking lot, there's about 60 spaces there. It's a 1/3 mile trip on that bike path. So I just kind of question, again, looking at this from an unbiased standpoint, I don't have a say in it one way or the other, but looking at this just from what this information shows is that there doesn't seem to be a huge need to pave that. I think that you could potentially make an argument that all these people that are coming into the city are, again, supporting the economy in some way. I think that would be speculative to try to make that argument. But one of the reasons I'm kind of presenting this is that I would like us as a committee to be frank, to do more than give monthly reports on things that are broken and things that should be fixed in each park, and to be a little bit more proactive in the sense that I pulled up from the bylaws here to guide the development of parks and to make recommendations to council and the administration. So what I'd like to have happen based on this, and I know I'm new to the group and maybe this isn't the way things are done, but what I would like to suggest to have happen is that everybody on the call right now, if you feel free, if you want to give some input or your own observations, and then based on that, if we feel like there's a large contingent of us that feel one way or the other, to come to an agreement and actually make a recommendation that Councilwoman Bourne can take with her to the next Recreation Committee meeting. So I'll stop sharing, but I'll kind of put that out there and see if I'd be happy to hear if anyone else has any thoughts on it, and then if we want to make a recommendation, I'd be happy to hear that as well.
That's some good work, Todd. And I can see your point on a lot of that. But I mean, that's a small window, throughout the year. I know one thing that is very popular right now is the kayaking and canoeing in the river. So the racks are full with city residents using that. And there's also a lot of interest in continuing that at Three Meadows. So, but yeah, good work on that. And it definitely needs some discussion. So thank you.
Hey Greg, how many times have we seen like Orleans flood? Because I know that's very low and it's in a floodplain there.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything recently, but I know it has. So
recently, up to like 2 years ago, that parking lot was pretty much underwater. When we had the pager ice issue. I've seen it over the years. Just briefly. Like on the main lot. But that, or not the main lot, but out back. Where the boat ramp is. That getting up near the parking lot. A couple of the low-lying areas between the two parking lots would flood over occasionally, but fully submerged, I've only seen it, I think just that one time, where the parking lot was, totally under, and that was due to the ice jam. So.
And does that affect, like, I guess, the repair of
anytime you have excessive groundwater, under a pavement, it's probably not the best for that. The walking path, in Orleans, it goes under the bridge, and that we got to consider that was submerged as well, and seems to be holding up very well. So I'm not an asphalt expert, so so. But yeah, I've seen it get wet down there quite a bit.
Anything else from anyone?
Rick Giltz. I wanted to mention, Greg, so I suspect there is routine maintenance to that lot, which would be stone that's probably hauled in on some routine basis to maintain it in its current condition.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a good base there now. A lot of it is just, regrading. But we do have to add stone, pretty much every year, at least, 6 to 8 truckloads just to maintain. Sometimes more, like, when we had that total washout 2 years ago, where it was like a river that went through that lot by the boat ramp. We lost about 4 foot of that parking lot, so that was quite the rebuild job then. But it holds together pretty well. It's mostly due to the traffic that we get the potholes and that, but that's, the grading and snow plowing in that area is pretty difficult as well. But,
Greg, in your opinion, is it more cost effective to have a paved lot that maybe there's less maintenance from the trucking in of the stone perspective, although you'd still have to seal it every few years?
Yeah, it's kind of on one hand kind of thing. So it's like I say, I'm not an asphalt expert, and I don't know how that would hold up over time. The lot there at the Rapids Road lot, 2 has been underwater several times. That seems to be doing fine there. So I guess maybe we could use that as a comparison. It's going to be similar. Anytime that lot would flood, ours probably would as well. So, so I guess I'd have to look at some of those issues and maybe check with Side Cut to see if they've had major issues with their asphalt. So that would be my suggestion. Maybe just kind of research it a little more.
Greg,
as far as maintenance.
Have you had any discussion of plans to add more amenities to that park at Orleans, considering that it is in a floodplain? Because right now I struggle to see the need, other than the times when the water level is appropriate to have all the fishermen near the bridge there. I really don't see anyone visiting that park to do anything because there's not a playground there, there's not a walking track there, and maybe those can't be there because they're in the floodplain.
Yeah. I think as the multi-use path maybe continues, and connects to Riverside Park and Hood Park, that I think usage would maybe come up. I know that it's a popular area for the fireworks as well. And just throughout the day, you'd be surprised at the people that just go there and have lunch. So it may not be the most popular park, but I think it gets used regularly.
Hello, this is Councilwoman Bourne. Hello, everybody. I like a lot of the points that Todd made, and thank you so much for all your time, Todd, and what you're doing. It's appreciated. And Greg, you as well, and what you do. I would like to add that I think that plugging the potholes might be better to do, a little bit more cost effective with that new piece of equipment that we just voted for on City Council recently. It could do a number of things, and if I remember, one of the things was patching potholes. I haven't heard anybody from the public comment that they want that paved, to my knowledge. So I appreciate Todd's comments and what he's saying, and I think he makes some sense.
Deborah, that equipment for the pothole repair, that is an asphalt repair for street use. So it wouldn't do us much good, on a stone lot like that. That's pretty much just, we have to regrade and compact the stone in those areas.
Hey, Greg, but consider some of Todd's points. I think he makes some good ones. I really do. And if it can save us some money that we could put some other things into the parks, I think that would be very cost appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I think we all would like to see improvements throughout all the parks, and I think you just got to be smart about where you spend the money. I mean, as a taxpayer myself, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
This is Rick. Todd, do you have like a recommendation that you would like us to consider, and then maybe as a group vote to support or not? Thus, we could then forward that to Deborah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I don't think we've done that before, at least since I've joined, but I would like to make a motion, if that's how we do it, to recommend to the administration and city council that we at this time do not pave Orleans Park or Orleans Park parking lot. And I don't have any addendum to that of we should take the money and go spend it somewhere else. I just kind of want to leave it at that of at this time not pave the parking lot at Orleans Park.
I would like to think about it for a month before I would recommend either way.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to second Todd's recommendation, but Will, I understand. Excuse me, this is Rick Giltz. Excuse me. So I hear what you're saying, and I think that makes sense. Is there a date where this is going to be bid that waiting a month may be a problem?
I haven't heard any actual finalization to that decision to pave or not. I know it was brought up.
This is Randy. I kind of also would like to also think about that as well. It goes back and forth, being paved and not being paved. I definitely see the pros in it, and I definitely see the cons of having it being paved. But I think that's kind of something I kind of want to think about it as well. It will. Then maybe go down there and talk to a few people and kind of see what their input is as well.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's good that you, at least Will and Randy, you two want to think about it some more and maybe talk to some other folks and get some other input. But I do share the same concerns that Rick does about if we wait too long, it's going to move forward without our input one way or the other. So it's, thinking of last month's meeting, I recall it being a decision that was made and intended to happen at some point later this year. And again, I just don't want to kind of miss that boat that we're going to wait and make a recommendation later and then it's done. So.
Well, somebody could always motion and try for it.
Make a motion. I'm with Todd and Rick on this. I don't see a whole lot of value. I mean, there is value in paving the parking lot, but I feel it's pretty minimal versus the expenses.
So we can go with Todd's first, and Aaron, do you want a second?
I will.
And then let me do a roll call, and so if you'll just bear with me, and I'm just gonna go down the list, and you can tell me yes or no, and it's like whatever your preference is. Tony?
Yes.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Randy? You are also welcome to abstain. You would prefer?
Abstain for now.
Todd?
Yes.
Will?
No.
Caleb?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
All right, so that passes by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Passes by 7. So Deborah, that'll need to go to Rec Committee.
Consider it done.
Anything else before we move on to the next item?
If I could just throw 2 cents in here real quick. This is Chris Patrick. Any kind of development plan that we're going to do or that the city's going to do to Orleans Park, one of the main considerations is going to be entrance and egress from that park. And it is very dangerous, especially if you're towing a boat going in and out of that park. I just think it's a consideration that if we do things that are going to increase foot traffic in and out of that park, it could increase. There's going to have to be a plan made to address how cars are moved in and out of that park. That's all I got to say. Amen.
Amen.
I agree. This is Todd. Actually, when I talked to Jessica, she said she always rides her bike there because it can be challenging to get it in and out of the parking lot.
Chris, I apologize. I referred to you as Patrick. My apologies.
That's all right. So many do.
Before we move on to like the next item on the agenda, I thought I would chime in and talk about or ask Greg if we know what is the status on reserving shelter houses.
Status right now is, I think they're taking reservations. There are limitations still at the shelters. I think limited to, I believe, like 15 people based on the governor's rulings, which I think are going to be relaxed maybe soon. So we're keeping an eye on that. Restroom facilities are still closed. We've got them on the ready to open, and there are porta-johns at the facilities as well. So you can call the office and get on tentative schedule. But like I say, those are based on, and there's a COVID form that needs to be filled out as well. So that's something new as well.
Okay, great to hear, because I was doing a little research before I was going to ask, and I saw that Wood County Park District had already opened up all their shelters and indoor shelters and Metro Parks as well, and they also have COVID forms that go along with them. So, and you answered my question about the restrooms. So, I would say, and maybe we can all take a vote on this, but I would really highly recommend that we move forward and open those up, because after doing my research on our surrounding parks and districts, they all have open restrooms. And I think it is a good thing to have. I mean, the porta-johns are fine, but like if we can open them up, all the better. It's, you know, it's a safety issue. I mean, it's a...
Yeah, we've actually done quite a bit of work to them in preparation to open. We've gone with hands-free water faucets and flush valves. So hopefully, you know, and then the hand dryers as well. So a lot of the touching, you know, is going to be at a minimum.
That's great.
So, and a lot of the issues with opening them is being able to keep them clean and sanitized. You know, and it's a more than once a day event. So, so we are looking at a way to do that, you know, safely. And so I think that's in the works and should have, you know, happen pretty soon, I hope.
Okay. Any ETA on that at all, or?
A lot of it, that is based on what the governor does.
I mean, again, I'm just going back to like best practices. Everyone else is open. And I really highly, like, I'm gonna push it. Like, let's open those up.
You know, I'd like to too, but you know, it's just like, it's not really my decision.
I know. Whose? Well, actually, here we go. Whose decision is it? It's not the governor's.
Yes. Mayors and administrators.
Okay.
Probably. Yes.
Okay. Can we make a recommendation to administration then?
I guess you could if you want to. Yeah, you can make phone calls anytime, to my knowledge.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion. I'd like to see those restrooms open.
I was just going to ask if you wanted to make a formal motion. We have a second?
I second that. This is Chris.
Oh.
All right, I'm just gonna do roll call again like I just did, so give me just a sec. right. Aaron,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes. Thank you.
Rick Giltz,
No.
Caleb,
Yes.
Will,
Yes.
Todd,
I'm going to vote no out of spite just because Will voted against my motion. I'm kidding. I'll say yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
So that passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that'll need to go to Rec, Deborah.
Consider it done.
And I really appreciate Todd for really taking the initiative to push us to make recommendations. So thank you.
Yeah, happy to do it.
I think that leaves you, Deborah, with review of Recreation Committee reports.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Todd. And by the way, Todd, you're doing a great job with the meeting today. Just wanted to let you know.
Excuse me, weren't we going to discuss the Fort Meigs crosswalk?
I was saving that till the end, but we could do that now if you wanted.
Well, that's okay. I may have missed it.
Hey, Rick, do you have a copy of it?
I do. I haven't had a chance to read all of it. I only have read just a bit, but I'm glad that they put so much into it, and I would certainly love to see that come to pass.
I'm in agreement with you on that. I think it's a great idea. And as I recall, I think, Rick, you were the one originally who brought that up. And then I think it was Christopher Patrick, if I remember correctly. And I do remember bringing that to council on more than a couple of occasions, and also the Recreation Committee.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that it looks like it has some legs under it now.
Me too. Are you ready for what I have to say? And I'll keep my comments brief.
Absolutely.
What I have first I would like to mention a couple of things. I have some concerns from the citizens who have contacted me, and I looked into a couple of these things. Woodlands Park in the last couple of weeks, I don't know if any of you are aware of this or not, had some graffiti there in different places, and it was not very attractive, shall we say. But I do know that it was cleaned up immediately by our public service people. And so again, thank you, Greg, for you and your crew and what you did. Secondly, also some concerns from citizens about the municipal park and the basketball courts. And apparently there was some possible violence going on and some shouting back and forth at the pickleball people. It got a little crazy, and my understanding is the police came and took care of the situation, which was good. So, kudos to them as well. But I wanted to bring those things up. I was a little concerned about that, as was the public that contacted me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Was the graffiti at Woodlands, was that on the back of a sign?
Well, it was in a couple different places, as I recall. There was like a I don't know, it was like a table-ish type thing. Then there was a sign, different places around there. It wasn't very attractive.
The sign.
Can I join in real quick?
Go ahead.
Also, too, about the graffiti, there was also on the twisty slides, or the twisted slides, there were some of that graffiti as well that was there. And then it was brought to my attention last night that either city or parent was able to cover that out, like get that off, but it was on the slides too.
Yeah, it was pretty much all over the picnic tables and on most of the slides throughout the whole complex. I probably spent a good hour there myself cleaning that up. There was a report late today of some graffiti on the shelter building, maybe on the back of a sign there. And there was a police report made on that as well. May have been kind of like one of the gang sign stuff that they like to paint.
The graffiti on the back of the, I think it's probably hole 10 for the disc golf course. It's on the back of that. It's definitely it's not a gang sign. I won't say what it is, but you can definitely still make it out. So it looks like it's been scrubbed, but it's pretty obvious what it is still.
Right.
Let's just say it wasn't attractive. Leave it at that. And then I will also say, Tony, Wade, thank you for your suggestions about what you talked about with the pond and the area around it and the erosion project. And that looks fantastic. And thank you to Greg and his group and what they've done over there in that area as well. And also, I don't know if I heard Randy Feringer welcomed at the last meeting. So Randy, thank you very much for being part of this group. Appreciate your comments. And I will take both recommendations from this group to the Recreation Committee about no Orleans paving in the park, and also the comments also about opening the bathrooms in the parks. And I think, oh, there was one other question I have for Greg. Who are these artists that are going to be in Woodland Park? And do you know how much the sculptures were going to be? Because I don't think anybody knows that answer.
You know what? I haven't been involved with any of the meetings with that project. Brody Waters, I believe, is heading that up. So I couldn't really answer you.
Okay. Well, my understanding was the information that we were originally given was in the last few weeks that they were going to be temporary, and it was through the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Is that true?
Like I say, I really don't know the meat and potatoes of that whole thing, other than they were showing up in my park. So I don't know.
Yeah, just curious about that, because my concerns are about, obviously anybody who likes art, and I do, but my concern is about the graffiti. I just hope we don't have things destroyed by people coming by, because it's an easy target. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. I think that's why they're the lighting, is a part of that as well, I would imagine, for security. Yeah.
I do have the Bergman study in front of me, but I am not completely versed in this because I just recently received it myself. But if anybody wants to discuss it, I'll be happy to listen to everything everybody has to say. And that's the end of my report. Thank you very much for all that you're doing. You do a great job. And Heather, you do a great job doing the notes.
Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Next is the review of any action items from the meeting.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing, this is Greg, the only thing I have is that I just received that study too on the Rotary Park. So I'd like some time to, evaluate that before I make any kind of comments.
I believe Jessica mentioned that she's putting it in the June agenda.
Yes, that's correct. Well, I wanted to thank you for your
Yes, that is in that. Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for your suggestion for the Prac schedule to be online. We officially were able to upload that to the website, I believe, last week. So all the meetings for this year are like in a schedule per se, and so not just on the city calendar, but also right underneath like Prac. So hopefully that will clear up any confusion or needs in the future. So I appreciate your bringing that to our attention.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing it. I think it's a great idea just because it's a quick, easy, you can see everything, especially the dates that we're not meeting, like the July and September and
yeah,
the upcoming ones. So thank you.
Anything else from anyone?
Yeah, this is Todd again. I'd like to make a suggestion. The last thing that I want to do over the summer after a day's work is sit in front of a Zoom call at 7 p.m. So I'd make a suggestion that if the weather permits, which it should because we have shelter houses, that our next meeting take place at a park.
I will definitely second that.
I would suggest Three Meadows so that since they have the most recent updates and there's a shelter house there we can use. Does that work for everyone?
I
I was just kind of curious if
we
this,
can't.
I was kind of curious if how Heather feels about this because I think last year the former law director had ruled that they wanted to have all the meetings recorded. So I'm not sure how the city feels about that, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it was a public record thing, and also it's part of a recording. They needed to have it in city council chambers or this way for public record purposes. So.
And I can double check. I can double check with Kate, our law director. But I believe what Deborah and Will are saying is correct. And that's how I came on board with Prac is the meetings needed to be held publicly so that the public could come. But I will definitely talk to Kate tomorrow, who is our law director. I'm not sure if everyone's met her or not, but I will ask her tomorrow and then get back to everyone.
Great, thank you.
If the location and time is announced and our meeting is recorded and then submitted, would that allow for all the meeting all the recommendations?
Recorded at the park?
Yeah, if we just set up a video recorder, and as long as the audio is good, I mean, I suppose that's an option.
Yeah, I will ask.
Just if I can, I don't want to make the decision for anybody, obviously, but I just wanted to let you know that I think the administration might prefer that you get it recorded there so they have a recorded meeting. I mean, even though the parks sound like a great idea to be in, but just wanted to throw it out there.
Do they need to be video recorded or just audio recorded? Because essentially what we're doing right now is audio recording for most of us.
I think sunshine laws say that you can do either or, but I think it's preferred that if you do the video.
I'm not 100% sure. Let me check with our law director. Personally, the meetings that come out of my office, there's at least 3 that I personally take minutes for, and those are all held in person in city council chambers. But obviously this is a different structure and a different committee or board, so I just am not as well versed. I use the videos and the recordings to go back and help me with minutes, but that doesn't mean that I take notes, but I can adapt. I'm willing to adapt. So let me ask Kate these questions, and if the answer isn't sufficient, please just work with me and just let me know exactly X, Y, and Z if I'm not answering all of your questions. But I will definitely chat with Kate tomorrow. And Aaron or Todd, was your suggestion at Three Meadows Park to meet?
Yeah, just because that's had the most recent updates, it'd be nice, I think, to kind of force us all to go see those. I haven't seen them yet, so I'd like to. And it'd be good. I mean, we are the Parks and Rec Committee. It makes sense for us to meet at a park.
Well, and that's what the committee did in the past. What was it, 2017 and beyond? Or 2018 and back?
Yeah, we stopped doing it, I think, the middle 2019.
What was the impetus to that change?
I do not know.
I can answer that sort of, but I didn't have anything to do with the decision on that. But I can tell you that the administration made the decision on that to have it recorded in the public chambers, council chambers.
Let's start with the chicken, because there's only 3 options for chicken. There's the marsala, the chicken piccata, and the chicken Alfredo. What? All right. you vote on Bella?
Hey, Rick.
Someone want to mute their line?
Rick, I think you might need to mute your line.
You can-
You have everything you need, Heather?
Were you getting background from my wife's meeting?
Yeah, you having Alfredo tonight?
Sorry about that. She's got a class reunion Zoom going on in the other room. They're a little louder than I would have thought, but you know how they are.
Anything else from anyone?
I'm good over here.
Okay.
Thanks.
I guess that leaves you, Todd, with the Fort Meigs crosswalk study.
That leaves me with it?
Well, Jessica sent me the email that you wanted to talk at the end of the meeting about it.
No, I wanted to talk about the Orleans parking lot, which I've done. Yeah.
My mistake. I thought it was the Fort Meigs crosswalk study. Okay.
Nope. She had said that that's for next agenda, but I don't know that that prevents anyone from making a comment on it now. I think that most people haven't read it thoroughly, so I don't foresee any motions or anything happening right now.
No, I just went through the highlights. I haven't dug deeply into it yet. I have nothing else unless someone else has something to add.
I'm all good.
Okay. So.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
That leaves us June 7th, correct? Okay. I believe the meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a good month. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hi, guys.